Welcome back to the Cadet Lounge. This is, man, I think week 10 now. We're rolling steady.
Yeah.
I'm your host, Cadet Sproul, and we are here with Cadet Cruz. Cadet Cruz is an AS
How you doing?
300, which is a junior in college, and he is currently a POC and an FTP. And for those who aren't familiar, POC are your upperclassmen in ROTC, and FTP is where you learn how to pass field training, which is your Air Force ROTC boot camp, and move on to be a POC. So Cadet Cruz is in a pretty unique situation. I'll let him talk a little bit more about that just in a few minutes. But Cadet Cruz, before we dive in, I have a very important question to ask you. Are you presently watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Absolutely. I always wake up Friday morning. That's like the first thing on my agenda. Wake up, get ready, and then pop that open. I think it is very amazing just how they're all laying it out. I think the whole structure is pretty cool. If I were to basically compare it with, I guess, WandaVision, the other Disney Plus series, I'd have to say Falcon and the Winter Soldier is probably my favorite out of the two. WandaVision was pretty weird in the beginning, but as you keep watching it, I think it kind of shows you why it's like that and kind of tell you the story. But with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that kind of just jump right into it. I think episode one just dives right in. There's really no filler. Um, but yeah, definitely the two tag team, Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie, by far one of my favorites. So
I totally agree. I feel like every time that I watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it's like I'm going to the movies and
yeah,
I'm watching a Marvel cinematic movie,
absolutely. Yeah.
um, for the length and for the quality of everything. I just huge fan. And pretty much everyone else who we've had on the podcast has said the same about Disney in some sense. So big fans. Um, Cadet Cruz, I wanted to ask you, since you're in a bit of a new predicament and situation in ROTC. I wouldn't even say predicament. I think it's just definitely a weird situation. You're in FTP and you're currently a POC as an AS 300. How has that been going?
It's definitely been a challenge in a sense to where, yes, I'm a POC, I have all these responsibilities, but then again, I also have to kind of gauge my mind and just, be ready for this summer. It's definitely not been a stressor in my mind. I feel like it's definitely kept me focused. I would say if FTP wasn't a priority, I definitely wouldn't be, I guess, better knowledge on drill, better knowledge on word knowledge. I wouldn't have that right now, but I'm kind of grateful that we are going through this training experience so that it retains in my mind. It's definitely a weird dynamic when it comes to working, I guess, with the rest of the POC in a sense, because we're not technically field training cadets in a sense. We're still POC, but when it comes to like training for like PMT and such, when the switch turns, that's kind of an interesting flip. Um, I'd say it's manageable. I definitely think it's not one of those. It's a big challenge. I think since we've had field training the year before, it's not so much. It's basically kind of a refresher in a sense. And so I think myself and the rest of the deferred cadets, I think, pretty set for field training this summer.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. How has it affected your life outside of ROTC with school and your family and all that?
I mean, it hasn't really affected me that much. I still have a pretty good schedule in terms of just balancing everything. I have basically like a pretty good idea of what the week looks like in my agenda. We have our PMT sessions on Sundays, and so it's kind of the end of the week. And then everything else, we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday is ROTC, and then Sunday PNT. And in between that, I think I'm able to kind of spend time with family, go to work as well, and do all my other school responsibilities.
Good. I know FTP can be something where your time seems to just get sucked away
Mhm.
and that's all you're doing is RTC. So that's good that you're able to manage that.
Yeah.
Um, when when going through FTP, especially during COVID, I'm sure there are a couple of things that you've seen that have actually been really, really well organized, well thought out. a lot of planning requires that. Um, what in your mind has gone really, really well, almost to the point where like you didn't expect it to go that well, whether that's with your flight or with how FTP has been running, or what has been something where you think there could be some opportunities, things that can maybe work a little bit better, or things that are just not as efficient as they could be because of the times that we're in right now.
I think my flight within our deferred flight, I think we're doing very well. Something that I would like to see implemented either with us currently, probably not too much because we don't have much time, but maybe in the future, if we do have this same situation, I would definitely like to see more of a joint training environment with the current field training preparation flight. And then if there are any possible deferred cadets, like have it intertwine. I feel like with them being in the same boat and just being in that same mindset, it'd be very beneficial. We've had some instances where we did train with the FTP cadets. And I could kind of see how if we were to make that a more common thing, I think it'd be beneficial for both flights essentially. But overall, I think what we're doing right now is pretty well. With my cadets, I think we're doing very well considering how much time we have. Um, and then with the FTP cadets, I'm pretty sure that they're doing well as well. I see them pretty much every other day, kind of just observing them and how they're performing, and I can see major improvements. So they're doing really well. I'm pretty sure they'll be well prepared when the time comes.
Awesome. And you specifically, out of the rest of the cadets, are one of a few crosstown cadets. So your experience in ROTC is a little bit different. Could you maybe give us a little peek into, what school you go to, what your major is, because and really how like your daily commute and ROTC looks like? Because I know for cadets looking into joining ROTC, they may not see this side of ROTC highlighted as much.
Right. So yeah, with being crosstown, it's definitely a very interesting kind of way of just going with the cadet life. So I go to Wilmington University. My major is business management. And for my commuting, I guess, process, I drive to UD at least, let's say, two PTs, lead lab, and then PMT. So 4 times a week at minimum. I guess the biggest advice I'd give to any cadet who is going to be doing crosstown is keep in mind of when you should pay for parking and keep in mind when you shouldn't. Being a freshman and sophomore, that was kind of a thing I never caught on to until later, like sophomore year, junior year. Um, Definitely, you can definitely, I guess, save a lot of money if you just know where you're parking, know where you're going. Um, Also, planning out your routes on how to get to UD. I've taken like the longest route. I don't know what route per se, but I've been taking the longest route. But come to find out, just take I-95 and then you're there in like 15 minutes. I used to take like 20 to 30-minute drives to UD, which is insane because I catch all the lights. But yeah, the dynamic going from Wilmu to UD and having that kind of relationship, it's not that bad. But just yeah, definitely whenever you commute, and if you want to save gas and save money on parking, definitely keep in mind of when you should pay and all that.
I totally agree. I know there's a couple of times where we can get some parking passes around the
That's
area, and parking passes are like a golden ticket, pretty much. Just
basically
trying to
yeah.
see if you can get that for all the crosstown cadets. That's a really good point. Navigating and figuring out if you can find some free parking here or there.
Right. Yeah.
Because you're a college student, you're going to walk, especially going on campus. So there's no avoiding it. Might as well just get a nice walk.
Right.
Um, so you mentioned that you're from UD, or you're from Delaware. Not every student, actually, the majority of students who go to UD aren't familiar with the local area beyond the campus
Right.
at. What's something that you think if those students and those cadets actually grew up in Delaware, is something that they'd be able to be familiar with, um, that right now they probably aren't. For example, I'll give you one.
Okay.
Mission Barbecue is my favorite, beyond any shred of a doubt, my favorite barbecue place in
Yeah.
Delaware, and it's down in Dover, Delaware, actually where I am right now. but and that's probably why I'm getting it for lunch. It's something that I can't even fathom not understanding that Mission Barbecue is here and going to UD for 4 years and never trying it. Like that's just it boggles my mind. But questions for you. Anything else that you think people are missing out on?
Well, I don't. So I'm not from Delaware. I've lived here for I guess throughout my entire college I guess experience. But being here for that 3 years and some change, I would say it's not really for from Delaware in a sense, but if you're from like the Upper East Coast, Wawa. I think that's like the only thing that's popping up in my mind. If you're not from the, I guess the northern half of the East Coast, um, and you don't have Wawa, definitely take up some of the hoagies, the sandwiches, subs, whatever you call them. Those are just, I love them. I haven't found any other better place that has a better sandwich than Wawa. Also, their green teas. They have mango, they have peach. If you can get peach or mango iced teas, that's that's a game changer right there. But yeah, Wawa's pretty. Yeah, so if you get to the East Coast and you go northern, you'll see a lot of them. Um, I've kind of looked into it, and I think weirdly enough, there's some in Florida. Weirdly, if you can go to Florida as well, you can get them there. But if you go up north, you're more you'll see them more often over there. But yeah, definitely get a hoagie. Definitely get some sweet tea.
That's a good point. I forgot that Wawa isn't everywhere.
Yeah,
Well, good point. Well, thank you for letting me take some time out of your day just to kind of understand a little bit more about your situation and
absolutely.
um, life as a crosstown. For anyone who's watching the podcast and you have additional questions for Cadet Cruz or for me, definitely leave them in the comments or you can visit our website and we have contact information there as well. Both links will be down in the description of this video. Cadet Cruz, thank you very much for giving us some time in your day for us to
Absolutely.
chat.
Thank you for having me.